Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The ground quakes as the thundering hooves of the High Elf cavalry sounds through the woods as they charge off against the Wood Elves. We do have Kark leading the High Elf army, and we have Sleeping Druid is going to be commanding the Wood Elves. So for the High Elves, we went with a very, very heavy cav unit. We do have a couple of spearmen for a front line, if you can even call it that. We have 3 Lothern Seaguard, and the rest is going to be cavalry all the way off into the sunset. So we do have 4 Illyrian Reaver archers in total on the left flank here, and then we have triple Silver Helms hidden in the forest. And then in the forest up on the hill, we have the Fireborn, the ROR Dragon Prince's unit with their flaming attacks, and they will actually do good against any of the tree units that the Wood Elves may have brought. And then for the leadership department, we do have the Mage of Beast bringing the transformation of Kadan, and then we do have the Archmage of Heavens flying around here somewhere. There she is, and she is going to be bringing Harmonic Convergence and Curse of the Midnight Wind. So really going for that buff debuff for all of the cav units, getting all those good engagements. But that is going to be it for the High Elf army, and now let's swing on over to what the Wood Elves have brought. Now you can see that there isn't any archer units present in this army. We do have just a ton of Eternal Guards with shields. We have the Winter Heart Guards here. They are unbreakable, so that is a very good unit to be having. Otherwise, it's just Eternal Guards with shields in the front and a few Eternal Guards with just the spear in the rear. And then we have triple War Dancers as well to really chew through that front line, and they will chew through them very fast indeed. And there is the Treekin, who those Fireborn will do excellent work against. But otherwise, for the leadership department, we do have a Glade Lord with Prey of Anathrema and Arrows of Kurnus, as well as a Spellsinger of Life, bringing Awakening of the Wood, Earthblood, and Regrowth. We do also have a Waystalker bringing another Arrows of Kurnus on top of that. And there is one more Great Eagle flying above the lines. Now, if you go by the... so this is a quick battle, but if you go by the mana rules, this isn't a mana rules legal army. There's far too many spearmen, and there is triple Great Eagles. But however, this is going to be a very interesting match regardless, as the High Elves really expecting to find some kind of archers, especially with all of the cav units, but there is just a prickly porcupine full of spears, and we'll see if they're going to be able to break through that crack. And so let's get this show on the road, as the Lothern Seaguard have opened up, and really the High Elves, they don't really want to be advancing in this particular case. These spearmen, they really should be kind of kept in reserve for the most part, keep them back, and just allow the Lothern Seaguard to open up. And really, those Lothern Seaguard, these War Dancers, they have no shields, they have very low armor, and that is who they want to be firing at, and that is what they are doing. Now, these spearmen, probably, again, a little too far forward at this time. Just allow your Lothern Seaguard to do as much damage as you can. You have the overwhelming mobility advantage, but the spearmen will be getting some charges off on to the other spearmen and the Eternal Guard, and so these Eternal Guard, especially the Winterheart Guard, will win against High Elf spearmen for sure. And these Lothern Seaguard are kind of sitting back. Right now, they're going to be allowed to get charged by these Eternal Guards. I'm not really sure if that's necessarily good. They haven't used really much of their ammo, if at all. Pretty much now it's just going to be the Illyrian Reaver archers and the rest of the mobility just kind of circling around the formation. I mean, these are Lothern Seaguard. They do have decent melee stats as well, so they should be able to do fairly decent work. Now, the Spellsinger of Beast has summoned the Manticore, as these triple Great Eagles are kind of flying above the tree line. Now, this Manticore is probably mostly used to try and save this Mage of Beast, but it doesn't look like these Eagles have that prey in mind. Do have a couple Arrows of Kurnus actually going down, not really doing a whole lot of damage. That mage is on foot, so a pretty small target. Otherwise, taking a look at the front line, the spearmen taking some good damage. They are holding surprisingly enough, doing some decent work against these Eternal Guard, but otherwise these War Dancers are going to clean up shop. Now, the Feral Manticore has gone after the Waystalker, kind of going after that low-hanging fruit, as the all of these Silver Helms are just collapsing upon the Wood Elf formation right now, as these Eagles kind of circle above. But here comes the heavy hitters, the Fireborn, getting a nice charge right on through their Lothern Sea Guard into these unbraced Eternal Guard, and they'll be pulling out pretty quickly, but doing some very good damage. Looks like the second Feral Manicore is going to be coming down any second now, and there it goes, taking a bit of damage, but her job is done, so that mage really now can just pretty much hide in the trees, preserve that balance of power. But these Eternal Guard shattered off of all of these charges by the Silver Helms, so the front line actually surprisingly holding for the High Elves, and even the Lothern Sea Guard are now kind of able to kind of back up and fire a little bit, but otherwise the Silver Helms, again, they just have the mobility advantage, though this Archmage of Heaven's going to have to be a little careful right now, as all these Great Eagles are just going to be hounding them now. The Feral Manicore is coming in to support, but that Archmage of Heavens is not going to be liking that engagement at all, and will very much not be turning and trying to engage, though it looks like that Great Eagle will be catching her regardless. We do have some of the Silver Helms have been routed off, but the Fireborn are now getting on top of the Treekin, who they will be doing a ton of damage with their flaming attacks. We do have this Elven Reaver Archers perhaps getting a little too close to that engagement. Fireborn will be pulling out, cycling in and out of this engagement as best they can. Spearmen holding for the time being, though this massive infantry is still going after these Lothern Sea Guard, and the just continual cycle charging from the High Elf army here should be able to wear this army down quite a bit, and they do have quite a few shots as well, though. Another Prey of Anathrema netting down the Archmage of Heavens, as an Arrow Kernus doing quite a bit of damage as the other Great Eagle does jump on top. Now we do have the Curse of the Midnight Wind going down on all of these units, and we do also have Harmonic Convergence overcasted on top of that, or just regular cast on the Fireborn, so they will have 24 melee attack and melee defense, but that Archmage is able to survive that encounter and kiting away, kind of getting into the protection of the Elven Reaver Archers. Now those Arrows of Kernus really going off their mark quite a bit, but so far this engagement is starting to break down these War Dancers especially, and the Eternal Guard are slowly withering away as well, though the balance power is very much in the Wood Elf favor at this point, as pretty much all of these mobile forces for the High Elves, just there isn't really anything good for them to hit and charge into, because it's all anti-large spears, though they just have to slowly whittle them down, especially with all these archer fire. And I think these Great Eagles are going to be very hard to deal with as well, because of the Spellslinger of Life with the regrowth and Earthblood, just be able to heal things up. But the nice charges from the Fireborn and the Silver Helms, though the Silver Helms are both routing right now, and that is not good for the High Elf forces. And really the Fireborn are going to have to hard carry here in this late game. Elven Reaver Archers using up all of their ammo and getting some charges in themselves. But this Wood Elf army is very, very close to breaking itself and leaving just the single entities left. But the single entities themselves are all Great Eagles, and it's going to be very hard for the High Elves to deal with, even with all of these mobile forces. Even the Silver Helm's doing still doing fairly decent on health right now. Fireborn chasing off of this kind of low-hanging fruit right now, is an Eternal Guard just absolutely getting sandwiched right here between the Elven Reavers and the Fireborn, and they will probably quickly, very quickly, be breaking and routing off. So that is the kind of catch that the High Elves need to get, and now there is a fairly decent chain route coming as all of the War Dancers are routing, though the nice Prey of Anathrema holding these Silver Helms in, allowing all of those. But here is just a massive collapse of cavalry, as everything, and I mean everything, is just collapsing upon this engagement right here. So this is going to hopefully try and route things off for the High Elves. The War Dancers are routing, but it is down to just a mosh pit of these Great Eagles and all of the Cav, and some of the Spearmen are coming back. The Elven Reaver Archers still firing in, and even more Cav coming in. Even the Spell Mage of Beasts coming into this engagement, but this is just a mosh pit of mosh pits. The Treekin looks like they are routing themselves. They still have 5 miles left, but they are pretty low on health. And even the Glade Lord, though, is wavering right now, and if she does rout, a nice Awakening in the Woods, though, going down on just this massive units. And it's really going to have to see if things are going to be able to pull this back, but I don't know if the High Elves are going to be able to sustain, though it does look like the Glade Lord does go, and I don't know if the Archmage is still around right now. though she could possibly chase things off. Now, Kark does need to kind of pull at least some of the mobility and keep that Glade Lord routing and off the map. The fire or these Silver Helms are going to be routing, but looks like the Arlene Reaver archers are going to start to circle around, and here are those Silver Helms, and they may try and just kind of kite underneath this Glade Lord here. Make sure that she does not come back, because that Spellslinger of Life also needs to go, but a lot of the units now, that little surround off they had earlier on is kind of breaking off, and we're going to see if the rest of the Arlene Reaver archers are going to be able to break this cookie. So this Spellslinger of Life, though, is the last thing that really needs to go, though there was an Arrow Kernus, which means that Glade Lord is back, and back she is, and they're supported by that Great Eagle. Now, the Fireborn still have a bit to... they still have 19 models left, and they are going to be a little hard to break, though there is just one Eternal Guard. The Waystalker is at full health, and that Great Eagle also very high indeed. But the Spellslinger of Life is routed off, and that is going to be it for the healing. So that is very good for the High Elves, and the High Elves may be on the verge of coming back here, as it is just down to a few units of Waystalkers. Okay, so now we have the Great Eagle. It's still circling around right now, and we'll see, just because the Great Eagle is probably going to have to land fairly soon, though we do have some Lothern Sea Guard as well coming back. They do have a little bit of ammo, and they are going to start peppering into this Glade Lord. Actually staggering her a little bit, but it might just be enough to do enough damage to get her to rout off, but she is going to be pulling back. She is wavering actually right now just from the archer fire, and this Waystalker just absolutely getting sandwiched once again. It was wavering. I don't know if he'll be able to survive. He is losing leadership very, very quickly, and he does rout right off the bat, and the balance of power is right back to middle, and the High Elves were on the verge of army losses and are now slowly coming back into this fight. Glade Lord, maybe not the best idea to be jumping down into this engagement right here with how low she is, although there isn't really anything very heavy hitting. But here is the Fireborn, and there are the heavy hitters charging right into that Glade Lord, getting a little surround off and wavering that Glade Lord, and away she will go, and she is on just slivers of HP right now, and she will almost shatter at this point, and I don't even think she'll be coming back. That is her second time routing, and just getting stuck in with all of the massive cavalry right now, and now it is just down to that Great Eagle. As the Great Eagle, it'll almost surely fall at this point, with some spearmen coming back and that Fireborn, and that is going to be it, as all of those armies do rout, and there is apparently some troops still left somewhere, but that is going to be hit, and the High Elves will come back and take it. As I said, they were on the verge of army losses right there, and they do finally work their way back into the match and take the game. So the Archmage and the Mage of Beasts really getting outgunned pretty much from the get-go with the triple Great Eagles. Very hard for that one Archmage in the sky to really deal with. I think it probably would have been a little bit better had that Archmage been on the ground, mainly because the Wood Elves can bring Way Watchers, and they can bring, as I said, like the Great Eagles, so they can put both, even just 2 Great Eagles in the sky would have been too much for that Archmage to really deal with, because they had Lothern Sea Guard for archer support, and that's really not going to put enough DPS to deter both of them. You do have the Frail Manicore summons, but again, those are only 2 summons, and the 2 Great Eagles pretty much just kite those away until they run out their summons. But otherwise, it's really kind of impressive how the cavalry of the High Elves were able to break all of these Eternal Guard. Just continual, just wearing them down, cycling in and out. Very good micro on Kark's end, being able to do that against spear units, especially Fireborn. Great pick for those Treekin to really wear them down, and even the War Dancers, they really didn't do that much. They really didn't have many targets for them. The Lothern Sea Guard did a lot of damage as well, because they're no armor, no shields. Very good damage on that end, and definitely this Kark build was pretty much expecting a more traditional Wood Elf build, in which the heavy cav can really punish the archer play from the Wood Elves. But I think it was a very interesting counter build by Sleeping Druid, and I do hope you all enjoyed the match, though, as that will be all I have for you today. And as always, have a good one.